Alrighty, so UFC is still down for a couple weeks, but we're moving into the Paramount era starting in big 2026. So I thought I would make a list on the top UFC fighters I think you should be watching as a UFC fan. Maybe you're casual, maybe you don't watch the cards, maybe you don't watch pay-per-view events, maybe you don't legally watch, look to the East, boys, but, maybe, you find the crack in the wall if you catch my drift. You know what I mean? Maybe you haven't paid to watch every single pay-per-view like myself for the past couple years. And you're a little newer and you're trying to get into the UFC. Well, let me just tell you, there are some stinker performances. Some of the champions that you might see on this list here, okay, on the official UFC athlete rankings, they are not fun to always watch, okay? So I thought I'd kick off the end of 2025 with my personal favorite fighters, aka fighters I would most likely recommend to someone getting into the UFC, as we're now going to Paramount. Paramount's going to be like $10 a month, $60 USD a year, some shit like that. I saw that posted. So that being said, I will say some stipulations for the list. You can put a lot of fighters here. Some fighters are overrated, stuff like that, but this is, a little biases in this list here. But all these fighters are coming off a win. Yeah, I think all these fighters are coming off a win. We're gonna find out. But yeah, all these fighters are coming off a win. Also, all of them are like must-see TV, like must-see UFC fighters. Like, if I see their name on a card, I'm fucking excited, okay? Priority is based on rankings. Higher in ranks, the more priority they take. If you're entertaining and one of the best in the world, you gotta take priority at some point. And there may have been a stinker performance in their career. However, I'm going based off recency, aka you can even lose as long as you made it look good, if that makes sense. That being said, we're almost 3 minutes into the intro. Let's get into the rankings here. We got the top 10. Coming in at number 10, little bit of a sleeper. Don't see a lot of people talking about this guy, Vinicius Oliveira. Hey, we love to see him. We love to see him. Now, if you're a little newer, maybe this list can be for the hardcores. Maybe you've just, people forget, man, But if you're a little newer, you have no idea who Vinicius Oliveira is. I believe he just got ranked off his Kyler Phillips performance. While he only has 4 UFC performances, not including his Dana White's Contender Series, all of them are sick. He was losing his debut against a really good striker, and that fight was pretty entertaining. And just when you were like, okay, this is where it's going to start getting boring, Vinicius Oliveira kicks off one of the greatest KOs, I think, of 2024. I don't think it won KO of the year, but it was up there, man. With the flying knee to KO Bernardo Sopaj, or Sopai, whatever his name is. Wicked performance. Then he goes on to fight Ricky Simone, in a fight where a lot of people were picking Ricky Simone. And he goes out there and basically masterclasses him. Then he goes in to fight a Nurmagomedov, and even casuals will know the legendary tales of Nurmagomedov. And he went in there and he beat the living shit out of him. And this Saeed Nurmagomedov, despite the name, 2-3 years Dagestan, get Dagestan wrestling, Saeed is definitely much more of a striker than he is a grappler. Like, he's got grappling there, but he's definitely more of a striking breed, I guess, of the OVs. And this was an impressive performance. And then you got the Kyler Phillips one where he absolutely dominated Kyler Phillips bell to bell. Whooped his ass, almost finished him. I know these are decisions, but that's just more Vinicius you're going to see, Maybe this ages poorly as time goes on, but Vinicius Oliveira is very high up there on my entertainment. And now that he's ranked, he also gets bonus points for my list here because he is ranked. But take it on Mario Bautista. I didn't even know this existed. Maybe I gotta do a fucking fight breakdown for UFC. Whoa, what is February 7th? That's not a fight night, right? That's 326? Might be fight night. I don't know. Regardless, oh, it is fight night. It's literally saying right there. Interesting. Okay, I can't read. Regardless, though, yeah, Vinicius, not only because he's like winning, but he is doing it in a very dominant fashion, and he's also doing it in the most goofy ass fashion. If you don't know fighters like MVP and Yuri Prohaska, ball knowers know, but if you don't know them, dude, this guy strikes wild. Like, fights just like a fucking psychopath. Like, dude, this guy, he's winging for the fences. He's fumbling all over the place, but he makes it look like it's an art. And that's what mixed martial arts is all about, ladies and gentlemen. But I do think Vinicius Oliveira has been very entertaining to watch. Striker's delight. Strikers get priority, by the way. Having an entertaining grappler is very, very hard in Big 2025. But yeah, most of these people are going to be... I think all of these guys are strikers. All of them are indeed strikers. Actually, that's not true for the next one. But yeah, Vinicius Oliveira, he's my number 10 spot for top 10 fighters I think you should watch. AKA, if you see this guy on a card, maybe you're thinking, I can't afford the $10 a month Paramount. If you see Vinicius Oliveira, I promise you that $10 is going to be worth it. This Vinicius Oliveira Mario Bautista fight, that's going to be sick. We move on to a personal, full bias, full transparency. We're biased for this one. Charles Air Jourdain. Hey, that's my Canadian brother right there. Might be French Canadian, but we take it. Okay, we'll take what we can get over here in Canada. Okay, our best fighters tend to be women, but we do have some good male ones. In terms of entertainment, and you're gonna see losses here. In terms of entertainment, Charles Jourdain is the most entertaining Canadian fighter in my personal opinion. And I don't even think it's close. Okay. Now, you might see some losses here. When he loses, he does kind of get highlighted. The Sean Woodson might be the stinky performance, I guess, out of everything here. However, I can push that to a side because he's Canadian, and, there's a little bit of bias, a little bit of rigging in this list. But he does have sick performances. And even against bums, he's whooping bums. You know what I mean? His guillotine might be pound for pound one of the best guillotines in the game. And that's saying something, because guillotines have sort of this aura of, you're an idiot for going for a guillotine. If you see this face go for a guillotine, you should be shitting your pants. You know, if you got money against Jourdain and Jourdain starts going for that, you see him start locking it in. You're gonna be shitting your pants, let me tell you. Charles Jourdain, he's got very slick and fast grappling, and that's what you really like to see for grapplers. And then his striking's still pretty good. He's pretty wild, even though he's got like a tight high guard most of the time. And he goes for like cool shit. He goes for spinning wheel kicks. That's mainly why he couldn't beat Woodson. Or you could argue on that fight. I still think he lost it, even being biased. But he kept on spamming like the same spinning wheel kick, and Sean Woodson is literally... This guy's 5'9". Sean Woodson's like 6'5". That's not even like an exaggeration. That guy's gigantic. Okay. But yeah, sick guy. Absolute. We love him here. Great fighter. Wonderful Canadian fighters. We love our Canadian fighters. Yeah, Charles Air Jourdain. He's just got a style where once you see it, you're like, holy shit, this guy fucks. Absolute aura. Charles Jourdain is my number 9 pick. We move on to number 8. And this is going to be kind of I don't think he's had a stinker, but he has had not great performances. Carlos the Nightmare Prates, okay? Now, his UFC career has been a little bit interesting. The Trevin Giles fight, he was losing, and then he found the finish. Charles Radke, he literally made Radke look like a victim. Jing Liang is mainly here because he wasn't KO'd before the Nightmare found him. And he also whooped his ass. Neil Magny, interesting one. He wobbled him in the first minute. Took him about 3 minutes and 30 seconds to find the finish, but he found it. The Ian Gary performance, you could argue, is a stinker, but I would counter that argument only because round 5 was so interesting with how Prates literally made Ian Gary look like a bitch. If you know ball, you know ball. If you're new or don't know who this guy is, basically this guy has the death touch. That's it. His grappling isn't the greatest. Takedown defense is all right. You probably have seen him on YouTube Shorts when Leon Edwards grabbed his back and was hammer fisting him, and he was just like, bored as fuck. So yeah, you probably know him from that highlight. Other than that, he did smoke Leon Edwards. He also made Ian Gary look like a bitch. You might have seen him from that. But yeah, he's on my list here mainly because he's probably the most. How do I word it, man? He's the highest likelihood of being champ out of the fighting nerds, in my opinion. Maybe that's a hot take, but the fighting nerds had aura for a while. They all went on a loss streak or a loss in Big 2025. However, Carlos Prates, he's one of the ones back in the win column, and he's doing it in a sick fashion, man. He's killing people, literally killing people. You know, Ian Gary fight. Ian Gary also took that short notice, a little bit of a stock loss in the Carlos Prates corner. But yeah, very interesting guy to watch. Just because he will be able to shut off anyone. He'll kill anyone in 170. At the weight division he's currently fighting at welterweight, he could just chin Islam out of nowhere. The first punch lands, it could just chin Islam. That's how much power I think Carlos Prates has, and he's just built different. A little bit of a Sean Woodson variant. Hey, you know ball, you know what I mean. But that is my number 8 pick on fighters you should be watching to study for the Paramount era. We move on to the next fighter, being number 7 on my list. Lucky number 7 is Joshua Van. Now, he has lost before, and I did mention, even if you lose, I'm still putting stock on the name, because when you lose and it's still an impressive fight, or it's a fun fight to watch, or you lose in a goofy way, you know, that's points. That's what makes this fucking sport entertaining, you know? And yeah, he did get chinned to Charles Johnson back in 2024, and then he goes on an incredible win streak and is now currently champion at the end of 2025. Now, circumstances, arm break, I get it. Even if we take that fight away, because that was pretty much a nothing burger, the Brandon Royval fight is up for Fight of the Year contender for 2025. Absolutely amazing fight. One of the best fights you could watch if you're a newer fan. Definitely a showcase of what the sport's about. Bruno Silva, another wicked performance, and he finished him in the third round, late in the third round. Very good performance. Ray Tutsuria, you're probably not going to know this name. I think he's a K-pop star or some shit like that, something like that. Regardless, he was a good grappler. Who was known basically to like take your back, and you know, then he's just gonna have his world with you. But Joshua Van was able to stuff all the takedowns and beat the living piss out of him. Wicked performance. Cody Durden, another wicked performance. Now Cody Durden, you know, not the greatest of wins, but even the Edgar Chavez, dude, all of these wins are really good, high quality, except for the Pantoja one. All of these wins are high quality and interesting. Like if it's on the TV and I'm at the family get together, I'm watching the fucking TV. I don't give a fuck about what Christmas cookies are being made in the background. Okay. But, yeah, that's my pick. Number 7, Joshua Van. I could see people putting him higher. I can see people putting him lower. But me personally, when you watch him fight, he's young, fast, great boxing, good kicks, great stomps, great anti-grappler. So, you know, I know, and a lot of new fans, when they come to the sport, they're going to see some nut huggers, and they're going to be like, what is this gay shit? I don't want to watch this. And listen, Joshua Van is the answer to that gay shit, if you catch my drift. But yeah, anyways, we're moving on to number 6. Okay, speed running here towards the end. It is the highlight reel, Justin Gaethje, for my pick at number 6. Dude, this guy is still entertaining. Now, you could argue the Max Holloway fight was a stinker, but it had one of the best KO moments because it was the last second in the last round. And he was a part of that. And Max Holloway, I could see being on this list. However, for me, I prefer putting Justin Gaethje here just because every single one of his fights are interesting. His head kick KO over Poirier, he was losing, and then just pulled out a head kick out of his ass. You know, Rafael Fiziev, the first and second fight, are both very interesting fights to watch. In the striking, 2 really good, dirty boxing fighters. Majority of that fight, the Charles Oliveira fight where he got submitted, sick performance, even though it was only 1 round. The Michael Chandler fight, also a pretty good performance. Khabib getting submitted. It is what it is. The Tony Ferguson fight, the first guy to really crack Tony. He was the first guy, not to crack Tony, but he was the first guy to beat Tony on Tony's fucking win streak. And that's saying something, because Tony's 2-0 right now in boxing, okay? Maybe you missed it last weekend. Dude, Tony Ferguson's going back on his run, okay? Khabib's still ducking. Anyways. But yeah, Justin Gaethje, even if, like, maybe you've taken a break from the sport or whatever, and you know who this is, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember him from the Michael Johnson fight or something like that. Dude, this guy still puts on crazy-ass performances, and he's still one of the best fighters to watch. And I have no doubt in my mind the Paddy Pimblett fight is still going to be fun to watch, even if Justin Gaethje loses. That's the perk of Justin Gaethje. He's so much fun to watch, even when he loses. We move on to number 5, cracking the top 5. Now, you could have changed this with number 6. All right, they share the weight division, but maybe this is also biased. I'm putting Bobby Green at number 5. Hey, I'm doing it, okay? My king, Bobby Green at 39 is still fucking doing it. I understand he's coming off a win against the bomb in Lance Gibson Jr. where he was the favorite. However, I counter that argument by letting me have this, because Bobby Green's so much fun to watch, man. Bobby Green, wicked performance against Jim Miller. Got submitted in probably one of the most entertaining submissions, I guess. The most entertaining submission from Paddy Pimblett, I think, in his whole career was Bobby Green. So that's bonus points. Jalen Turner had one of the latest stoppages on Bobby Green. That took years off his life. And the Mauricio Huffy spinning wheel kick, I think, is KO of the year, or it's runner-up KO of the year for Big 2025. Bobby Green, when he's on and when he shows up, he is so much fun to watch. Just whoop someone. Just masterclass him. Now, he did have a stinker or two back in the day. Jared Gordon, a head clash, it happens. When you see this guy in the cage, you'll understand. He's got one of the biggest fucking heads of all time, pound for pound. Tony Ferguson, yeah, I poked him. It happens, guys. But outside of that, he does have some pretty fun fights. And it's not just the fights that make Bobby Green so high on this list. For me, it's genuinely how he carries himself in the cage. When you see this guy in the cage, I'm not talking about, the way he boxes, the way he shoots takedowns, the way he stuffs takedowns, I'm talking about the way this guy just walks while he's in the cage with another man trying to hunt him down. Literally, he's got his chest puffed up. He's flexing. Oh, spinning wheel kick. Oh, just missed, buddy. He is the number 1 rage baiter when he's in the cage. And for that, I'm putting him on this list. If we're talking about rage bait, if we're talking about pissing off your opponent, mind games, Bobby Green is pound for pound number 1. This guy could accidentally dodge a spinning wheel kick, and he's flexing like he's masterclassing you right now. It is sick to watch. We love Bobby Green for that. That's why he's in my top 5. He carries himself with just a different level of aura. You have to watch it to understand. And if you've never seen a Bobby Green fight, I implore you to watch Bobby Green, Jim Miller. That was at UFC 300. Great performance from both men. Yeah. Or when he fucking smoked Grant Dawson. And another thing about Bobby Green, a lot of fights, he's a massive underdog. People forget, man, he lost to Islam Makhachev back when Bobby Green was up there in the rankings. But yeah, Bobby Green, number 5. We're moving on. Number 4. Oh, Shama. I'm putting Alex Pereira up here. Listen. I can see the arguments why you might say, but he lost to Magomed Ankalaev in a horrible performance. You could say that. But he almost lost. Or, some people argue he lost to Jan Blachowicz. I get it. He got clipped against Israel Adesanya. I mean, that was one of the best celebrations of a KO ever. As much as I don't like Israel Adesanya, that was one of the best celebrations we've seen. But other than that, he's had wicked performances. Bruno Silva, maybe not so much. Slept Sean Strickland, slept Israel Adesanya in the 5th round. Then he got slept, and in a very, oh shit, this guy's never coming back performance. Goes up a weight class, has an iffy performance against Jan Blachowicz. Then he goes and fights for the belt after Yuri comes back from a injury, one of the worst shoulder injuries or whatever the argument was from the UFC at the time, has an absolutely wicked performance against Yuri in round 2. Now, round 1 is close. I've seen the arguments for both sides. I think Yuri won round 1. I don't remember what the judges scored it. But round 2, he came in, slept Yuri. Yuri admitted he was slept. And then we move on to the other former champion coming off another injury. And Jamal Hill absolutely sleeps him. Great performance. Gets nut-shotted, weighs off the nut shot, and just fucking starches him out cold. Then we get Yuri Prohaska in the rematch where people are like, early stoppage, this is going to be different. People were genuinely picking Yuri in the rematch. Alex shows levels and masterclassed Yuri. It literally looked like Yuri had no idea what he was doing. It looked like Yuri Prohaska didn't belong fighting. That's how bad he got whooped in that rematch, in my personal opinion. Khalil Roundtree, similar situation. It really looked like Khalil had no business being... Khalil Roundtree versus Alex Pereira is almost... It's the MMA version of like Jake Paul AJ if a belt was on the line, if that makes sense. This was like, dude, this guy shouldn't be here, and any level of success that Khalil had was like a, oh my god, crazy moment. Like, there was a moment where Alex got knocked off balance while he was doing a spinning wheel kick, and he got knocked down, and people were like, dude, Khalil can fucking crack, you know? And then Khalil starts gassing really, really bad, and Pereira absolutely enters a flow state and masterclasses him. Magomed Ankalaev, the first fight was pretty boring, but in the rematch, he came in with a different level of motivation, smoked him. But that's really why he's up here. He's a champion. He's very entertaining to watch. Doesn't matter who he could get. John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Hamzat Chimaev. It doesn't matter. Any matchup with Alex Pereira, I'm watching it. I don't care what I don't care what I have to do in order to get the money to watch this card, if you catch my drift. I would be watching it because Alex Pereira is sick, even at 38 years old, going on 39. July. Holy shit, that's coming up. Damn, this guy's getting old. But regardless, Alex Pereira is one of the most entertaining fighters for his level of fighter in the UFC. And if you haven't watched any of his fights, it's literally like, dude, once he gets in his flow state, it's over. Like, it's over. If you let Pereira get his flow state, you've lost. You know? Any Pokemon Pocket TCG gamers know, okay? Once that Ivysaur has 3 energy, that Mega Venusaur EX is coming out, and you're kind of just fucked, you know? That is what Pereira's like, and if you don't have an Aura Choreo, you're just cooked, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, if Pereira enters his flow state, it is wraps for anyone in the division. Anyone in general. Anyone. It's crazy. But yeah, he gets bonus points for being a champion and also having just wicked performances, some of the best KOs at his age. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We move on for bronze medal number 3 on my list for UFC fighters you should be watching. That is Ilia Topuria, yeah? He is genuinely one of the best fighters to watch. Bar none, in my opinion. Now, I've had my gripes and grievances, and I did pick Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway to beat Ilia Topuria. Those age like milk. However, okay, Ilia Topuria is really fun to watch. His skill level is just far better than all of these guys that he fights. You know, the uses of low performance, Damon Jackson smoking him, rolling him up, packing it in. Ryan Hall, similar situation, absolutely smoked Ryan Hall. Jai Herbert got dropped up a weight class, short notice, and then came back with one of the most vicious KOs you'll see. I'm sure you've seen the highlights. Bryce Mitchell struggled a little bit early, then got the submission in round 2. Josh Emmett, just one of the biggest beatdowns you'll ever see in the UFC. I think it might be, score-wise, the worst beatdown, because I want to say there was a 10-7 and 2 10-8s. I could be wrong on that, but that's roughly what the scorecards were reading out. And if you don't know, 10-7s are next to impossible to get. Like, nobody has those in the UFC. Volkanovski smoked him. Now, I know circumstances, whatever. Still smoked the GOAT at featherweight. And Volkanovski is still the GOAT at 145. Ilia Topuria slept him out cold. And if you're a little confused how that works, It's time to do some studying, okay? But yeah, Max Holloway smoked him at featherweight as well. Then moves up a weight division, fights Charles Oliveira for the belt, and absolutely destroys him in round 1 after a little bit of a weird takedown situation where he didn't want to grapple. But understandable, you know? But I still put Ilia Topuria up here, because whether it's Arman, whether he loses to Arman, Islam, whatever, I still think it'll be an interesting fight because of the level of danger Ilia Topuria brings. You know, when you see him throw a hook, when you see him starting with his combos, almost like Pereira, when Pereira enters the flow state, when you see Ilya starting to throw combos, you know your opponent's fucked. If you have money on Islam Makhachev and you just saw Ilia Topuria whip a fucking a 6-hit boxing combo and just barely miss the chin, dude, it's wraps. Your parlay's done. Islam's going to sleep, you know? So, yeah, Ilia Topuria's up here on my list. He gets the bronze medal. We move on to the silver medal, a title challenger come 2026, a former title challenger as well, in Diego Lopes. People forget, man. Listen, I get it. He lost to Volkanovski, and this is an undeserved title shot. I get it. Diego Lopes is still one of the most fun fighters to watch. Full transparency, I picked Diego Lopes to beat everyone. I wasn't around picking fights at Movsar Evloev, but I picked him to beat everyone. He has the best, like, if you were to go band for highlight reel, Diego Lopes might have the best one. He has some of the best transitions for his highlights. His submission on Gavin Tucker, where he got that armbar, it was one of the slickest armbars you'll ever see. He got it from bottom, then got his opponent to go to the bottom, and then he just walked off. A walk-off armbar. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. Aura points. Pat Sabatini smoked him, rolled him up like a joint, absolutely smoked in round 1. Sadiq Yusuf, similar situation. And these are dude, Pat Sabatini's on a pretty good win streak right now. Sadiq Yusuf is kind of a bum, but at the time he was rated pretty highly. He was rated okayly. Dan Ige, this situation, this is probably his worst performance-ish. Dan Ige, maybe? The Movsar Evloev, short notice, he tore Movsar Evloev's knee apart, but he just couldn't get the tap. The Dan Ige one, it was a weird situation. He made weight like 3 times within 24 hours. Dan Ige stepped up short notice as well. This was at like 165 when Lopez already weighed in at like 145. So this was like a lot of weird situations happened within 24 hours for that fight. But he still did well. It's still an interesting fight. Brian Ortega, he masterclassed him everywhere, on the ground, on the feet. You could tell he wanted a submission, but he just couldn't find that submission. He technically slept him in round 1, but he hit so fast that he immediately woke him up. And Brian Ortega was like, oh shit, uh-oh. And he proceeded to get whooped for the next couple rounds. Volkanovski, Lopez, might be one of the greatest striking, like, you know when you're just scrolling through shorts or you're looking for, like, just montages or something, and you just hear that, I just want to rewind, I haven't seen you in a long time. And you just see that Lopez just fucking uppercut as folks going for an uppercut. They clip each. It's just beautiful to watch, man. It's beautiful. And then he goes on, being a massive underdog in the Gene Silva fight, and sleeps him with an elbow. He literally masterclassed him in round 1. People forget, man. Lopez beat the living shit out of Gene Silva in round 1, took him down, and basically played with him like it was his bitch. And then in round 2, oh, you're doing front kicks. Oh, you're doing 5 spinning elbows. Well, Lopez only needed fucking 1. And that's why he's the fucking violent king. Goes in there, sleeps Gene Silva. First time Gene Silva's been slept in the UFC. And it's by my boy, Diego Lopez. Anyways, yeah, Lopez gets the silver medal. He's probably my second favorite fighter. And if you're looking to watch violence, fun fights, watch a Lopez fight. Any of them. All of them are great. We move on to the number 1, taking the gold medal. I've mentioned him in this video already, and you already know who's coming. Yuri Warrior Prohaska. Oh my god, this guy is the most savage fighter of all time. His only losses in the UFC are to Alex Pereira. He's lost way early in his career. Doesn't matter. Who cares? I think Ryzen. Yeah, Ryzen. Who cares? We are UFC fans. We don't give a fuck about these other organizations. Oh my god, this guy is just wicked. This guy's wicked. And listen, this is a case where this guy's been a champion. He's a title contender, okay? He's wicked fight style wise. And his mentality is insane. Everything about Yuri is great. It's chef's kiss. You need to watch Yuri. Genuinely, right now, if you don't know UFC, maybe you're watching this, you're an absolute casual, you've never seen a fight. Look up any Yuri Prochazka fight. You will immediately have an orgasm. I'm telling you, you will have an orgasm. He is one of the most entertaining fighters of all time to watch. Bar none. If he's losing a fight, he just finds a way to win. Only exception is Alex Pereira. Different story. But even when he loses, dude, he gets fucking slept. And it's like, damn, bro, this guy's never making a comeback. And then he makes a comeback. He got masterclassed by Alexander Rakic, in my opinion. I know some people are saying Yuri won round one. I think Rakic won round one, regardless. Rakic was having a perfect fight. And Yuri just ate everything. Leg kicks, fucking hooks, straight rights. Everything Rakic was doing. And it just wasn't enough. Yuri survived. He weathered the storm like true warrior. And he came in and smoked Rakic in round two. Oh, and then he gets a rematch, gets slapped. It is what it is. I mean, I picked Pereira in the rematch. I don't know why you would pick Yuri in the rematch, but it is what it is. And it's one of those performances where you're like, dude, I don't know if Yuri's going to be able to survive any damage. And then he has a wicked performance against Jamal Hill at the beginning of 2025. Dude, this fight was sick. And I know Jamal Hill's lost a lot of aura recently. Aside from his little side mission with Joanna Joanna. I'll say that much. Ball knowers know. That's an interesting side mission he went on there. You know, what an interesting side quest that was. But regardless of that, this fight was sick. Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka was genuinely sick. You know, it was a wicked back and forth, 1-1 going to the third, and it was seeming like someone was going to get finished. And if someone is going to need a finish, Yuri's the one to find it. And he killed him in round three. Fucking slept him. It was sick. Then we go on to the Khalil Roundtree fight. He's down 2 rounds, and you're thinking like, no, Yuri, not like this. And it's a wicked fight. It's a wicked back and forth for 2 rounds. And you're like, Yuri, not like this. You can do this. Find the finish. And he fucking found it. He went into round 3 and killed Khalil Roundtree. Absolutely killed him. That was one of it. Oh, man. Dude, you have to start. If you haven't watched a Yuri fight, you have to start. I'm telling you, as a UFC fan, as someone, let me help you, okay? Help me help you. Watch Yuri Prochazka in any fight. He is absolutely amazing. He's either masterclassing or getting masterclassed, still surviving, weathering the storm, and doing what he needs to do. God, I love this man. And now he's got a son. So we're about to see a whole different era of Yuri Prochazka. Yuri with a son. Or daughter. I don't remember if it's confirmed what the child's gender is. But regardless, dude. I'm not gay, but if I was, Yuri would be the type of man I'd go for. Anyways, that has been, what a way to end the video. That has been my top 10 fighters that you should watch as a new or old UFC fan just looking to have some fun. Maybe you got to do some studying before the Paramount era. Maybe this is your first opportunity to see actual real UFC fights and not just highlights. These are the fighters you should be watching, in my opinion, based off their performances. Either win or lose, they are always fun to watch, bell to bell, in my opinion. This has been the video. If you made it to the end of the video, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a great day. Yes.